More prequels, no sequels. Jorah originally had a much happier ending, and Sophie is really disappointed in you. How dare you not like season 8 if you didn't? Can't even look at you right now. So here's a Game of Thrones news roundup from the past couple days, probably more like 4 or 5, but hey, couple is a loose definition. Going to be doing a lot more Game of Thrones videos, probably news videos, and then getting more into the A Song of Ice and Fire history, and then other type of sci-fi fantasy stuff, so stay tuned. First, I want to share with you that Jason Momoa is super pissed that Jon killed Dany. There's a video going around of him watching Jon stab Dany, and Jason goes, "Fuck you." It's amazing. Next, Charles Dance, Tywin's actor, is really confused by the final season of Game of Thrones, which is probably not helping right now. So he said, "I saw the last series, and then we come to the big last series, and got to the very end, and I thought, okay, there's little Arya. She's going off on a cruise somewhere. Poor Jon's got back up north beyond the wall. And then there's Tyrion, and all the people left alive are sat around the table. So what are we going to do now? Should we have a cup of tea?" I thought, I don't know. Yikes. Next, Jorah originally was going to have a much happier ending, as I said beforehand, but then D&D betrayed us like normal. So one of the Game of Thrones staff writers, Hill, shared this. "For a long time, we wanted Ser Jorah to be there at the wall in the end. The 3 coming out of the tunnel would be Jon and Jorah and Tormund. But the amount of logic we'd have to bend to get Jorah up to the wall and get him to leave Dany's side right before the events of the finale? There's no way to do that. And Jorah should have the noble death he craves defending the woman he loves." I said that them deciding to not use White Hodor after they discussed doing it was the biggest betrayal I ever experienced. Even more so than my dad being killed. I take it back, D&D. This is the biggest betrayal. Jorah should have lived. Of course, they probably had to kill him because, as Amelia said, Jorah was her mediator for Dany's dark and destructive thoughts, so with him dead and Missandei too, she could kinda go psycho. Although winteriscoming.net said that originally Jorah was going to go to the wall, probably because he was going to help Jon kill Dany. Winter is coming? You shut your dirty whore mouth. Jorah would never betray Dany like that. I will never heal from this. Winteriscoming.net? I will never heal from you putting the thought in my head that Jorah could have betrayed Dany. Though Ian did weigh in on it, saying, "There's a sweetness in that because Jorah will never know what she did. That's probably best. It's a blessing for him that he never found out what happened to her. And from a pragmatic story point of view, his death served a greater purpose. Where could we have taken Jorah from there? F if I know." Speaking of losing trust in all others and faith in humanity, you know how we were told that they film multiple endings for the show just to throw us off and make sure it wasn't leaked? That was an absolute lie. Both Amelia and HBO's programming president, Casey Bloys, said that. But recently, Casey admitted, nope. "No, I think that was something at an appearance. I said it, and it caught on. I don't think they actually shot multiple endings. But putting that in the water supply wasn't a bad thing to protect against leaks. They always had a little bit of edge of doubt because you couldn't be totally sure. You know, if you can put that in the water, what else are you putting in our water, Casey?" But hey, speaking of shameful people, Sophie Turner said, "You people that signed that petition to redo season 8 of Game of Thrones, you're a crybaby, and you're just protesting because you didn't get your way." So Sophie said, "People always have an idea in their heads of how they want a show to finish, and so when it doesn't go to their liking, they start to speak up about it and rebel. All these petitions and things like that, I think it's disrespectful to the crew and the writers and the filmmakers who have worked tirelessly over 10 years and for 11 months shooting the last season, like 50-something night shoots. So many people work so hard on it, and for people to just rubbish it because it's not what they want to see is just disrespectful." And Sophie, I 100% agree with you. That's why I think we should kill critics on sight. If you dare criticize any film or book or play, musical, anything, it's really disrespectful. Do you know how hard people have to work to make those things? It's a gift. Back off. And of course, Sophie shared more about her character and how Sansa never wanted the Iron Throne after season 1. So she shared, "Since she got to King's Landing in season 1, she never wanted that Iron Throne. She never wanted to rule over that many people. I think watching how this character finished on Game of Thrones was the most satisfying ending. I love the way that Sansa's journey ended. I think it was kind of the one thing that she wanted throughout the whole show. To be home and to be where she felt most safe and comfortable, and that's Winterfell. She's totally capable of leading those people." Yeah, I think that's absolutely great, and Sansa did get one of the best endings out of any character, and all she had to do was absolutely betray a promise and her family in front of their sacred weirwood tree and help get a lot of people killed. You go, girl. Next, Casey Bloys, that HBO programming president I was talking about that may like to put shit in your water, so be careful if that guy's around, shared that we're never going to have multiple Game of Thrones shows on at the same time. So he said about that, "I doubt it. I don't think so. I certainly don't want to overdo it. We have so many varied shows coming up in 2019 and 20 and even into 21. I think Game of Thrones is a fantastic property, but I don't want to just be the home of prequels and sequels and all that stuff. That's why we've been working on the showrunner Jane Goldman pilot for a long time, because we want to do it right. I think the last thing fans would want is something that was rushed out just to make it to air. There are 2 things in development, and beyond that, there's nothing else to report. There are no plans currently to put anything more in development. We're not actively looking or going beyond what we've got in the current pilot." But Casey also shared a little bit more about Blood Moon, the not called Long Night successor show, saying, "The casting was completed a couple weeks ago. They're busy in Belfast prepping and getting ready to start shooting in a couple weeks." Also, he let us know that we're never going to get a Game of Thrones sequel. So on whether we'd get a Game of Thrones sequel, he said, "Nope, nope, nope, no. Part of it is I do want this show, this Game of Thrones, Dan and David show, to be its own thing. I don't want to take characters from this world that they did beautifully and put them off into another world with someone else creating it. I want to let it be the artistic piece they've got. That's one of the reasons why I'm not trying to do the same show over. George has a massive, massive world. There are so many ways in it. That's why we're trying to do things that feel distinct, and to not try and redo the same show. That's probably one of the reasons why, right now, a sequel or picking up any other characters doesn't make sense for us." Nikolai, I know you wanted a sequel of Arya's adventures sailing west of Westeros. Casey's a dick, don't worry about it. We'll get rid of him and get someone else who'll do it. Next, Maisie shared a little bit about her character Arya and also talked about how one of her biggest regrets is that Arya and Cersei didn't have a scene together in the final season. "I just wanted to be on set with Lena again. She's good fun. And I wanted Arya to kill Cersei even if it means Arya dies too. Even up to the point when Cersei's with Jaime, I thought while reading the script, he's going to whip off his face and reveal it's Arya. And they're both going to die. I thought that's what Arya's drive has been." I completely agree with you. I really wanted Arya to take someone's face and go stabby stabby. Which, funny enough, Lena also wanted a scene with Arya and wanted Arya to kill her. So Lena said, "I lived that fantasy until I read the script. There were clunky scenes and it was nothing that I had dreamt about. It was a bit of a come down, and you have to accept that it wasn't to be. There is something poetic about the way it all happens in the end with her and Jaime." I would still be down for it happening in the books, and I don't think that it's a no-go. I think it can happen. But let's go back to Ian Glenn, because he actually loved Season 8 and where D&D took Jorah. So he said on that, "You go through a bundle of emotions. Your best indication of what happens is they always list the cast on the first page of each script. I think all 6 came together at once. First script, yeah, I'm in that one. Second, yeah, I'm in that one. Third, I'm in that one. Fourth, yeah, I'm in that one. Just being a corpse, but I didn't know that yet. Then 5th, no, I'm not there. 6th one, oh no. So I knew I definitely died. Then I read the scripts, and I just think they're so good, and I enjoy reading them. I'm as intrigued as anyone to find out what unfolds, whether it's The Sopranos or Breaking Bad. You know, you can't please everyone all the time, but I just think they did it incredibly right. The way they resolve all the various storylines. When I read the nature of his demise, it felt right. It was the right conclusion. For 8 years in a row, you go, please, please. You want to stay in the party. You just want to stay on board. Then this season comes, and this is the season to go, if you're going to go. It's a heroic and satisfying demise. I think showrunners David Benioff and Dan Weiss were sweetly nervous about everyone's reaction, and their instinct is you'll be upset that you're out. So the first thing I did is I went and emailed them and told them how much I love the scripts. And they said, "Aw, you're a gent." And I said, "No, I'm really grateful for this conclusion." Also, the only thing Ian wishes for his character Jorah before he died was that he boned Dany. So he shared. Other than the painfully obvious one of making love to Daenerys way back when, in all honesty, no. It would feel ungrateful even if I could conjure up something. I've always felt very looked after. The whole grayscale journey was not in the original books, and that was something they gifted the character. I could say I wish Jorah expressed himself more, but that's just not who he was. The showrunners always said, slightly joshing, "You're great in silence. We always like having you in a scene when you're not speaking." But they were being sweet. But no, there's nothing. Oh, and let me end by just saying, Sweet Robin, the kid that became a total hottie, he's legal, so it's okay. It's not weird for me to say that. Well, it's weird for me to say that, but not legally. Well, he talked a little bit about his character in the final episode of the final season, saying, "I wasn't expecting to be called to act in the last season. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it to the last episode because so much stuff gets cut and changed throughout the process. I'm just really happy that it's all worked out." He also said that things turned out okay for Robin. Yeah. You think? Hey, that's all for now. Like, subscribe, and